Welcome back, guys, to my channel. And this game is insane. This game is known as the game of the century. It was played by a young Bobby Fischer. He wasn't a GM. I believe he was like 13 or like 12 years old around that time. 2 years before he got his Grandmaster norm, like his Grandmaster title. And it was played in 1956 in New York City, in New York. And the game is between Bobby Fischer and GM Donald Byrne. And you'll see what I mean when I say that this game is insane and why it was dubbed the game of the century. Bobby Fischer is black and Mr. Byrne is white. Let's see how the game goes. Okay, Mr. Byrne opens with the knight opening, knight to f3. Bobby Fischer also copies, knight f6. And this looks a little bit like an English, You can shadow the bishop maybe right there, once you push that, and it's going to be a very, very strong piece right there. So let's see what Mr. Fischer is going to do. So Mr. Fischer is going to shadow that bishop right there. And Mr. Byrne just takes the center. You always want to take the center. Whoever controls the center pretty much controls the game. And that's the reason why he plays that. Mr. Fischer castles and the bishop is developed to f4. And no, I'm sorry, Mr. Byrne develops that bishop right there. So he just pushes the pawn. He's trying to open up the center because that king is still in the center. That's the reason why. So he takes, and he plays pawn to c6. He takes control of the center with the e-pawn, and the knight goes right there. The rook is developed, and the knight goes right there. It's like move, I don't know, like move 11, move 15, and, it appears that Mr. Donald hasn't castled yet. It's almost as if he doesn't see Fischer as like a real threat, because normally if he was playing another Grandmaster, more often than not, he would have castled, just to get the other pieces into the game, so that he can do more with his, with his army and stuff. But since Fischer was, even though he was a prodigy, he didn't really see him as a threat. So the bishop pins the knight, and he also does the same thing. And it looks like Fischer just picked the game today, or yesterday, because that looks like, that's a free knight. That's what I also thought, that's a free knight right there. But even though it looks like a free knight, normally you would expect like a blunder or something. But if we go back here, white is the one that blundered, not black. Black played a brilliant move. What looked like a normal move, that was the blunder, and what looked like a blunder, that was a brilliant move, So, whenever beginners are giving, whenever they're like hanging pieces left and right, it looks like, yeah, they know what they're doing, man, according to, to Stockfish right here. Every single time you're like hanging something, it looks like, Anyway, so apparently, I believe the reason why this is a brilliant move is because the king is kinda weak. That's the reason why you always gonna get castled as soon as possible. This king right here is not castled. Like, you need to move this bishop and then you need to castle. He doesn't even take the knight. So even the GM, to me, it kind of looks like a free piece, just because there is no like direct way to attack the king. Yes, the king is kind of weak, but if that was me, I would have taken the piece. Perhaps that's the reason why I'm not a GM. So he just takes it, and he takes it. and the knight takes that. The knight takes it. So the bishop also takes, that free pawn right there. And let's see what Mr. Fischer is gonna do. He saves his queen, which is logical. He develops the bishop. Now he's ready to castle. Now this one I can't understand, because you take that, if you take this, I can pin this, and you really can't save it. You can try to go back, but I can apply more pressure, it's gonna be pinned, attacking, even the queen can also go right there. So this one I can't understand, but the other one I kind of see the idea, but I still don't understand it fully, So he takes that. He doesn't even take it back, because he knows that if he takes it back, then it's more of a trade, except you're gonna be down like maybe 1 or 2 pawns. So instead of doing that, he plays an intermediate move. He attacks the queen, and in this position, Fischer just he gives away the queen. The queen is attacked. He just attacks the other bishop, so he just takes the queen because, why not? So he gives a check. The king goes right there. He checks it, and the king goes back to, another discover check, another check, and the knight goes right there, another check. So if Bobby Fischer felt like he made a mistake, he can draw pretty easily, just because of this bishop. He can draw, the knight check, and then discover check, and then the knight check. But then this game will not be called the game of the century, It ain't been just another normal game. So let's see what Fischer does. And also, Fischer wasn't just giving empty checks. It's because in this position, after taking this bishop, the king goes right there. If he takes this, the knight is hanging. So you just, and then this guy is going to be hanging also. And that's not going to be enough compensation for the queen. So he gives a few checks, and then he takes it, because now the bishop is protecting this knight. So that's the reason why he gave all those checks, even though it kind of looks like they were empty checks, they were doing something. So, and also this rook was hanging like a lot of times, a lot of times it was hanging. So he finally takes that rook. He makes an opening for the king, because that rook is kind of stuck. That rook is kind of stuck, and you don't want to push this, because now this bishop is gonna be it's gonna be a strong attacking piece. So the knight is being attacked, and he saves the knight. He offers a trade. He takes a trade. Now he gives a check. He blocks. He takes rook, and then the bishop goes right there. Now that bishop is a monster, Bishop, they love open diagonals. That bishop is a monster right there. So the knight goes right there, and the other knight goes to e4. The queen goes right there, and Bobby Fischer has like 3 pieces for the queen, and also these, are gonna be future queens. So past pawns are meant to be pushed, so that's what he's doing. And also he was trying to, maybe because like white has nothing going on, literally white has nothing going on, so he was trying to push this, maybe to try to weaken the king, and Bobby Fischer does not even allow any type of counterplay whatsoever. So, and now the king is gonna get hunted down, only the king has only like one legal move, and that's left, you see. See, like, that's why he gave a check and then left, 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 check, left, check, white. And the moment where the king went to the white, that's when he got checked and it was game over. So that's a very, very, it's a work of art. What can I say? It's a work of art. And this is the game. This is the reason why it was dubbed the game of the century. I believe it's because of that queen sacrifice and also all those brilliant moves, like that hanging knight. And the fact that, the king, got hunted down. Like the king literally walked on the back wing, except on A1. Like he literally walked on all these squares. So I don't think it touched H1, but you get my point. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace out. Peace out.